Thanks for purchasing or renting Edco's CPM8 Scarifier. Our line of scarifiers are designed to remove concrete and asphalt surfaces, leaving behind a clean, textured, or roughened finish. Edco scarifiers are equipped with rotating drums filled with carbide or steel cutting wheels that flare away at concrete and asphalt surfaces. The CPM8 in your possession has a 6-shaft, 8-inch drum and can remove up to 1/8 of an inch of concrete per pass when using Edco's carbide cutters.
The CPM8 uses carbide or steel cutters to remove concrete surfaces. The cutters ride on shafts within the drum and dig into the concrete. Edco scarifiers are also popular for asphalt jobs, but it's important to remember Edco rates cutter life and removal depth based on concrete. The matrix of asphalt will wear away cutters more rapidly than that of concrete. Make sure to supply CPM8 cutters accordingly. There are 2 types of cutters offered by Edco: tungsten carbide and hardened steel cutters. Edco's blue tungsten carbide cutters are the most popular accessory used for aggressive removal. The carbides are designed to extract hard materials like concrete, floor coatings, and asphalt. They are popular because of their aggressiveness and long life. The lifespan of these carbides is approximately 6,000 to 8,000 square feet when removing 1/8 of an inch of concrete per pass. If you're renting out the CPM8, one carbide set should last several machine rentals, allowing you to rent both the machine and carbides separately. Edco offers 2 styles of hardened steel cutters, flat tip and pointed. The flat tip cutters are the removal option. If you have an application where the top layer of concrete needs to be removed from a smaller area, these flat tip cutters can be used. The pointed steel cutters are used to lightly roughen or clean the top surface of concrete slabs. Many times the pointed cutters are used to prepare concrete for overlays or to eliminate slip hazards. They can also be used to remove rubberized waterproofing membranes from roofs or parking decks. Do not use the pointed steel cutters for removal of concrete or asphalt. This will lead to uneven wear and extremely short cutter life. Steel cutters have an approximate lifespan of 350 to 500 square feet when removing 1/16 of an inch of concrete per pass.
There are 5 components to the CPM8 drum assembly. You have the cutting drum, the hardened steel shaft, the cutters, and Edco provides the pointed steel, the flat tip, and the tungsten carbide, as well as a retaining plate to hold everything together. This setup is the general purpose flat tip steel cutters. There are a couple key points that needs to be mentioned. First, make sure when loading the drum that you have the spacers by each of the spokes. This will prevent the cutters themselves from riding into the drum and actually ruining it. Second point, make sure that there is hardly any movement between the cutters. Too much movement will actually ride on the shaft and cause premature wear. And the last point, make sure that your cutters spin freely. If they're too tight and they're not allowed to spin, this will cause premature and uneven wear on your steel cutters. This is the pointed steel cutters in a broom-like finish setup. Edco offers a guide to show you how to properly load the cutters and spacers on the CPM8 drum. However, it is just a guide. As you can see in these setups here, there's too much movement. This is caused by the varying thickness of the spacers and the pointed steel cutters. To compensate for that, you can add an additional cutter or spacer in between. But make sure that if you add a cutter or spacer in this shaft, that the corresponding one is also done. This will allow the drum to be properly balanced. Now we're going to talk about the CPM8 tungsten carbide drum setup. One thing to keep in mind is that the way we have this design, every other shaft is going to be the same. So you'll notice that the way this thing has been set up in the pattern will be the same as this one, and then the corresponding cutter shaft on the other side. Typically, when you're putting these together, you want to have an offset. By meaning of offset, you'll see that these cutters are lined up to the spacer that's on the opposite side of the cutter shafts. This is called filling in the gap. As you get closer to the spoke, this is where it always gets a little tricky. As you can see, there isn't as much movement between the cutters, and it spins freely. Now, because of the longevity of the carbide cutters, the steel shafts does need to be checked after every day's rental to make life easier for everyone. Slide a brand new shaft in, and you can take a look at the old shaft.
It's important to practice proper scarifying technique every time the machine is operated. Before we get to the actual movement of the machine, let's go over some of the basic parts of the CPM8. The pull start is located on the engine, as is other basic engine controls. For more detailed information on these controls, please consult the engine manual in the literature package. The throttle cable is bolted to the handlebars on the opposite side of the CPM8 from the pull start. On the electric CPM8, a push-button on-off switch is located on the handlebars. Simply plug in the power cord and press start. The engage-disengage lever is located next to the handlebars. This raises and lowers the machine so the drum can touch the surface being scarified. The depth adjustment crank is located in front of the handlebars. This crank allows the operator to control how deep the cutters dig into the surface. On the gas CPM8, use the pull cord to start the engine. As soon as the engine starts, the drum will begin to turn. The engine will not start if the on-off switch on the handlebars is in the off position. Make sure the switch is turned to on and then pull the start cord. When the engine starts, open the throttle and allow the engine to reach full speed. At that time, lower the machine by using the engage-disengage lever. After that, use the depth adjustment crank to lower the cutters into the surface. You will hear and feel a difference when the cutters contact the surface. When they hit, turn the crank in 3 full revolutions to achieve the safe maximum removal depth. Many jobs will require multiple passes to achieve the required depth. Take the time to make these passes. The cutters will jam if you try to remove too much per pass. They will rise out of the surface, and the CPM8 will ride on the drum flanges, causing severe damage. The engage-disengage lever allows the operator to raise the drum from the cut and keep the same cutting depth. When you get to a wall or the edge of a slab, simply pull the lever into the up position and move the CPM8 into the next cut. Once the machine is lowered again, it will scarify at the same depth before it was raised without the adjustment crank.